Well, what do you think? What would you do? What action would you take?
I was thinking maybe we'd count them.
Count them. That's a great idea, particularly since this is a math class. I think counting is a great idea. So let's go ahead and count them. So go ahead. And so you have a pineapple there. Go. Yeah, you do. And so let's just take a minute and count them. And since this is a little bit of a laborious process, we're going to just take a few minutes and come back with counting because to make it easier to count. In fact, we have a pineapple here that has some ribbons coming up here, so it'll make it easier to count. So do you see them? Particularly since they're numbered. So how many spirals do you see on that pineapple? 13.
13.
13, that's right. It's amazing. It's amazing. And you have a pineapple. How many were on yours?
21.
21. Well, there were 13 one way, though, weren't there?
Yeah.
So you noticed, by the way, did you see any other spirals on your objects?
I did.
What did you see?
Other spirals.
Going the other way.
Yeah.
You know, and at first you might think, oh, are there the same number of spirals both directions? I mean, that would make sense. Why would there be a different number of spirals one way or another? Well, let's take the step of actually counting them. Actually looking at it, rather than just guessing and assuming that it's going to be in the expected way, let's actually look at it and count them. So go ahead and count them the other way. Oh, and we happen to have another pineapple to help with this that has some ribbons going the other way as well. And first of all, it's very attractive, isn't it, with those ribbons on there? It's very pretty. So, and how many spirals are there the other way?
21.
21. Wow, that is strange. So there's a different number of spirals in the two different directions. Who would have guessed? Now let's do some counting with some other things. How about the daisy? The daisy. Or no, let's first do the pine cone. How about the pine cone? How many? Look at these pine cones here. How many spirals are there on this pine cone?
I found 5 one way and 8 the other.
5 one way and 8 the other. That's right. Okay, so let's and by the way, how about your pine cone, which is a bigger, more robust pine cone? How many did you see?
There was 8 one way and 13 the other.
8 one way and 13 the other. Now this is very interesting. Oh wait, before we go on, let's try one more thing. How about a daisy? You know, looking at the daisy. Now if you look at this daisy here, look at this daisy. Here's a daisy. You see that daisy? Now in this daisy, you see these spirals, and here look. You see this counting here? So this makes it easy to count. So this counting, this one, there have 21 spirals in this direction and an amazing 34 spirals in the other direction. So I'll tell you what we're going to do, just to be, to ground ourselves. Let's go ahead and write down these numbers that we've seen so far. So let's start with, in order to organize ourselves, it's a good idea to start small and work our way up. So for the small pine cone, how many were there?
5 and 8.
5 and 8. Right. And in the bigger pine cone?
8 and 13.
8 and 13. And on the pineapple?
13, 21.
13 and 21. And on the daisy, on the florets of the daisy?
21 and 34.
21 and 34. Now look, the first thing that we notice is something interesting has happened there, right? What interesting has happened?
There's some repeats there.
Some repeats, yeah. Some of the numbers appeared more than once. So that's in itself, that is sort of a surprise, that here we took the step of counting something in nature, and sure enough, these same numbers appeared more than once. So our next step is going to be to say, can we explore the numbers themselves? You see, because this is a step in the way to understand the world often is to abstract from these numbers. We see this sort of the same numbers appearing more than once. So what would be a natural way to organize these numbers?
Let's put them in order.
Put them in order. So let's go ahead and just put them in one long list here. So we've got 5, we've got 8, we've got 13, we've got 21, we've got 34. So these are the ordered numbers. And the next thing that I want you to do is to really look at these numbers and look at them as numbers. They came from pineapples and pine cones and daisies. They came from nature, but you know what they are? They're now a list of numbers. So what do you see about these numbers? Can you see any pattern there? Can you see any structure that we didn't put there? Anything about them that jumps out at you? Now, I don't want you I want everybody to think about this. And you know, it's sort of interesting, in this video mode, I can't tell you to not look ahead. And you know, you can always just look ahead and you'll get the answer, but you're going to enjoy this a lot more and get more out of it if you take the time to right now, before going on to the next step, to think for yourself and see if you see a pattern. Try to explore this and see if you see anything about these numbers that's interesting. So take your time. It'd be fun if you talk to other people about it, by the way, if you want to, you know, if you have a neighbor or friend or something and you look at these, you know, try to find out what do you guys see? What do you see?
Right.
Yeah.
There's patterns here, and
Oh, you don't see anything? Here, well, come on, just actually do some exploring here. Write something down. Try to see what you see. Do you see anything interesting in those numbers? I guess, you know, part of what you see depends on what skills you have. And if you're really familiar with numbers, one of the things that you look for is how to combine numbers to create other numbers. And maybe that is a hint for what kinds of things you see here. Do you see any relation between the numbers 5 and 8 and 13 and so on?
5 plus 8 is 13.
Ah, 5 plus 8 is 13. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so 5 plus 8 is 13.
If we take 5 plus 8 plus 13, do we?
5 plus 8 plus 13, 26. Well, that's a good idea, but it didn't work. That is, it didn't give us at least something else in the pattern.
What about just 8 plus 13?
Ah, 8 plus 13. What is 8 plus 13?
That's 21.
21. Are we warming up here?
That one's in the sequence.
That's in the sequence.
Yeah.
So this one plus this one is this one. This one plus this one is this one.
Could it be that 13 plus 21 is 34?
Indeed it is. 13 plus 21 is 34. So look, look, we got these numbers from pine cones, pineapples, daisies, and look what happened. It has a structure to it as an arithmetic structure that's amazing. That you add these two together to get the next one, you add these two together to get the next one, you add these two together to get the next one, you add these two together. Oh, there's no next one. Oh well. Now what do? How do we explore? Now, you know, one of the things about this class that I'm hoping that you get from this, you're going to learn some cool math. You're going to learn some cool things about nature and about arithmetic, numbers and about statistics and mathematical things. But what's going to be even better is you're going to learn how to develop ideas, how to really think about new ideas and create new ideas for yourself. And one of the ways to create new ideas is that when you've seen something, you've seen sort of a pattern, you ask yourself, what do you do with it? You know, what steps do you take? After you've seen some pattern, what steps do you take to see more? So in this case, what would be the steps that you take to see more? So I'm going to let you take a few minutes and just think about it. What would you actually do? What action do you want to take to develop a better understanding of this pattern, find things in it? Okay? So take a minute and then come back, and after you've thought about it, come back and just tell me what you've seen.